Hello, my name is Father Howard Giles at Jesus the Good Shepherd Anglican Church. I'm here with my friend Jan Epps from Christchurch, Lemoore, and a fellow Nevadan. And I had been talking with her about her time in Elko and somebody that we have in common, the former Bishop of Nevada, Wes Friensdorf. And so, Jan, I'd love to hear about how you met Wes and Dee and a little bit about them and your life with them.
Well, it started out as Wes came to Elko in the late 50s and he started a youth group. And one of my friends were going to this little church that sat on the corner, and I had no idea what church it was or off and on going to the Presbyterian church.
Okay.
And never been into an Episcopal church. But I went and we had a spaghetti feed, and they invited me to the spaghetti feed for the youth group.
Okay.
And Wes was dynamic. I felt comfortable immediately, and he was great with the kids, and so he asked me if I'd like to come to church on Sunday. And I said, well, I'll see, because I didn't really know if I had a ride to go to church.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I did go. I got one of my friends, Janice Crumley, picked me up, and I went to the Episcopal Church for the first time.
Tell me the name of the church in Elko.
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's.
Uh-huh. And it sat right on the corner of 5th and Idaho Street.
Okay.
And it was very small, had a floor furnace in the middle of the room, and I remember a time of a wedding of one of the women workers from Battle Mountain was having her wedding there, and she got her heel caught in the floor furnace walking up the aisle.
Oh my goodness.
So, but anyhow, that was my introduction to the church with Wes. And as time went on, I felt so comfortable in the church. I went to one evening prayer with my girlfriends, and I knew that this was the place for me. My home life had not been a very good home life. My parents both drank and were not home much, and I had care of my sister and the house, and it was really hard to keep up with your studies and take care of the house and everything. And I finally just broke down, and I went to see my doctor, who was also an Episcopalian, and he took me up to Wes's. They lived on Dotted Drive in Elko, and we went into the study, and Wes came in, and Dr. Moore was really concerned about me, and Wes said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I don't want to live there anymore. And Wes said, excuse me for just a minute, and he went out. I had no idea what he was doing, but he went out and he talked to Dee, and the next week I moved in with him. It was just that simple.
How old were you?
13.
Wow.
And I lived there until I graduated from high school and married Leonard. But many exciting adventures in the meantime with camp and learning to live as a Christian, learning to live to glorify God, and seeing how real people, real Christians live. And
so camp, you're talking about Camp Galilee.
Camp Galilee and
Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe. And
so it sounds like you knew something about the Christian faith. You had gone sporadically to the Presbyterian church. You kind of knew something about...
I really didn't.
Okay.
I really didn't. I knew that there was a God, in my heart, I knew that there's something filled out, but
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't know what it was all about.
Mm-hmm.
I remember some of the stories from Sunday school, but I didn't go on a regular basis, so you don't really learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could not. I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to know everything about God and Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and the Bible
Mm-hmm.
and it's provided that.
Mm-hmm. So you found that you had a hunger
Yes.
for the Lord and for the faith, and it sounds like that hunger was partly increased by seeing godly living, by seeing
Seeing a
Wes.
family that really believed, trusted in what the Lord had in store for them, and love,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, real love,
Mm-hmm.
and
Real love.
real love.
Real love. So how would you describe real love? It's love that.
Accepting people as they are and not putting any, not making them into somebody they aren't, not
Mm-hmm.
trying to change them or
Mm-hmm.
just saying, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's what they did for you.
they did that for me.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee was great. Dee was young enough to make life fun, and she, we did a lot of fun things together.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a wonderful atmosphere to grow up in
Mm-hmm.
and be. So then life, as they decided they were going to adopt a baby, and we got Andre, and from Greece, and we picked her up in New York, and she was a beautiful little girl. And then we got Carrie from the Catholic agency in Reno, and then Dee was in a really bad car accident, and Wes swore that it was the car accident that opened everything up and got her. She got pregnant with Dawn.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow.
So Dawn she had Dawn, and then she had Vicky, and then she had Mark.
So when you went to live with them, there were no other children
No
in
other
the house?
children, no, not for
Wow.
quite a few years. And
Wow. So he was dynamic and she was fun.
yeah,
And that's a really wonderful skill that people have, isn't it? The people in our lives that can make normal everyday life fun.
mm-hmm. Dee was a remarkable person, she grew up in Winnemucca, and real close family, and and everybody was just, she's marrying a priest, and but she was a wonderful mate to him, a wonderful support. She just fell right in that groove, and she did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she was only 6 years older than me.
Oh wow.
And
is that right?
discipline was, she was.
So she was 19?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, it was kind of, she made it easy. I don't know how she did it, but she made it easy.
So discipline was what, would be really hard for her.
She didn't really want to discipline. Wes was the disciplinarian.
Okay. He set rules for you in the house, and you accepted them. I mean, you had a choice to make and being in their home, but you accepted.
I loved it. I'll tell you the truth. I loved it. I loved being accountable to someone, because I could have been anything.
Yeah.
I could have done anything.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
Yeah.
There was just something inside of me that knew that I needed structure. We needed people that really helped me together.
Yeah.
and it just really worked.
So I guess my last kind of question, or one of my last questions about that story, which is so wonderful, is that it was at an evening prayer
Yeah.
that you kind of had this, what?
Yeah, it was evening prayer, and Wes was giving evening prayer, and he always dimmed the lights in the little church there for evening prayer, and I don't even know how to say, but I felt God's presence, and I knew that this is what He wanted for me, and he just filled my heart with so much. I wanted to I couldn't get enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I never thought about going to any other church again. I never thought about doing anything else. I was baptized and confirmed in the Episcopal Church by Bishop Lewis, and never looked back.
Wonderful. We've heard some really great stories about Bishop Lewis. Sounds like he was another just really remarkable
He was a wonderful man.
Nevadan.
He was a great man. He was Wes's mentor, and Wes really, for a fact, he left Nevada and went to Washington, and Wes followed him to Washington State.
Mm.
And Wes had a little church in Darrington, Washington. He served. I don't know if you knew it, but Wes didn't only serve Elko. He served Battle Mountain, McDermott,
Oh my.
Wells.
Wow. That's a lot of driving.
A lot of driving, so that he was gone a lot, and Dee and I became very close,
Mm-hmm.
and he was Bishop Lewis. Though I think about Bishop Lewis, and I think of Camp Galilee, because that was his special place, and when he spoke, you listened. He had such a deep, roaring voice. He was really a good bishop. And I really admired him.
Well, that's a wonderful story, Jen. I'm impressed by your courage